Okay, today the video is going to show you how to make your own rats, mice, defroster, and warmer. These are all the items that you're going to need. Here are the different pan options. You can choose. The rounder one is if you have smaller prey items. We had to actually move up to a larger tray because we needed more items thawed out. So this, with all the supplies, the board on the bottom, the cookie sheet, the light bulbs and everything, this should cost you between $40 and $50 at most. So first we're going to measure the pans on the board to see where our support boards need to be placed. Pan's 11 inches, the smaller pan is roughly 9.5 inches.
So we're going to make it a little bit bigger.
So we're going to make it slightly bigger, so you can do 10 inches.
It'll be a 10 inch, and now it's going to be a
12 inch, depending on which pan you choose. As you can see here, we've cut the 2x4 to 12.5 inches, which is just about the size, a little bit over the size of the width of the cookie sheet. If you want to check the sizing, we lay the cookie sheet down and you can see, barely see over the edge, that the 2x4 is coming out on each side, which is what we were hoping for it to do. Alright, as you can see, we've laid out the electrical pieces that you need. You have two options. You can choose this dual outlet or this single fixture, depending on what kind of size of pan you're going to be using. But these are all the items that you will need. We have to now attach this electrical box to the 2x4 with two screws. So you'll need a drill bit to pre-drill your holes. You'll need a screwdriver, drill. So we're going to mark where our holes are.
Then we're going to use one of the additional holes for the grounding screw.
We are about to start the wiring, but we do want to make a disclaimer. We are not professional electricians. If you don't feel comfortable wiring things on your own, then you need to contact an electrician. But we are going to take you through the steps that we did for our box. So we have a pair of scissors, some electrical tape, a yellow nut, and a red wire nut. The red is for the hot, and the yellow is for the neutral. Okay, so you're going to get your extension cord, and as you can see, we have snipped the end off. And then you're going to take that outer sheathing off, and when you look at your cord, on the other end of your cord, you have your plug. Okay, you have your plug right there. Okay, you can see the blades. One is thicker and one is not, is a little thinner. The thin top one is the hot. The fatter blade, or thicker blade, is the neutral. And you'll also notice on the cord, of course I can't show you in the video, it's too small, but there's little indentation writing on the hot cord, so that's the way you can tell which side is hot as well. Now we're going to actually connect the wire, extension cord wire, to our wires on our fixture, but we have to first run the extension cord through an opening that's on the box. There's a little opening with a plastic holder. You just slip the extension cord in there, give you some space to work. Remember to find your hot line, which has indentation writings on it, and then that's the hot. The other one is your neutral. Okay, so you found your hot wire. That goes to the black wires coming out of your fixture. You twist those together, and we're going to put the red electrical nut on that, because that's going to show it's the hot side. And then we're going to take our black electrical tape and wrap that around that nut and wire, just to make sure they stay on there securely, but you're not going to cover the nut all the way, because you want to be able to see what color the nut is. And we're going to do the same thing on the the neutral side but we're going to put the yellow cap on it. Okay, so now we're at the step where you need to connect that grounding wire that's coming off your fixture into that third screw. There were 3 holes we made on our board. The third screw is a grounding screw. You're going to just wrap your cord around that. Okay, see it's wrapped around. And now we're going to attach our light bulbs just so we can check to make sure that the fixture is wired and working correctly. Okay, we're about to plug in our extension cord. There you see the light bulbs came on. So it is wired correctly. We've unplugged it so we can finish putting all the wiring into the box and attaching the fixture to the box. Put all the wires inside, and then there's 2 screws on the fixture that go into 2 slots on the box. Now make sure you find those. There's one, and the other one is on the other side, and that's where you have to line up the screws on your fixture, screw holes. So there it's lined up there, and I'm just going to put the screw in there. Now that we've got our fixture attached, we are going to determine where we want to put our switch. So you can select anywhere on your cord, and then you'll separate the 2. Don't be careful, don't cut yourself. This is a box cutter. Separate the 2 cords. Okay, and then you determine on your plug which is the hot side. Again, that's the one with the thin blade, and ours has writing on it. So you're going to cut out that sheathing again. Cut the cord. Give you some room to work. Then you're going to wrap the cord into the switch. Push down in there. Push the other one down there. So as you can see, we have the hot line snipped in 2 and wrapped around those screws, and we put the neutral line around the bottom part. So now we're ready to snap the lid onto our switch. And there's a little screws to secure the backing. So you're going to put both of those in and screw them down. Alright, so as you can see, we've got the switch, all the wired, and the other cover placed on it. So now we're just going to plug it in to make sure we have done all that correctly. We plug it in and we turn the switch, and our bulbs both come on both ends. So that has been successfully wired. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to measure how long our legs need to be. Now this fixture is attached to the 2x4 at the bottom, so you measure from the top of the 2x4 to the top of your bulb, which ours is we're gonna say it's roughly 12 inches. Doesn't have to be precise. And then you're going to add 12 inches to that, so that this part of your light is 12 inches away from your rat that you're trying to thaw. Okay, so since we measured from the top of the 2x4 to our light, and we came up with 12 inches, we added another 12 inches, gives us 24-inch legs is what we need, and we've cut 2 at 24 inches. Now we are at the point of assembling the legs. This is the top of our fixture on the 2x4. We're going to use some construction screws to secure them to each of the legs. So we're just going to line it up on the top so that this is square, and this one is as well. And then you're just going to put some pilot holes, which you're going to drill some holes so you can get your screws in there. Also, you want to make sure that you remove your light bulbs like we've done on ours so that you don't break your bulbs. So as you can see, this is the leg, and we have drilled 2 holes for our screws. So you can place the screw in the hole. Drill it down a little bit. and you're gonna line it up with the top, and we will just screw those in. So now this leg is attached to the top, and we're just going to repeat the same procedure on the other side. Now we're going to show you how to make the base for our warming device. First thing we're going to do is we are going to measure from the top to the bottom of the leg, which is, as you can see, it's 16 inches. And then that's the minimum width we would need to make our board. And you can see that the board is 16 inches. Okay, now the length has to be a minimum of 19 inches. These legs are 24 inches, but you need to make the board length at least 19 inches, or your device will be top heavy and it'll top all over. Now it's time to attach the legs to the base we just made. You are going to center the legs in the middle of the base, and then screw the two legs into the base with those construction screws we showed you on the bottom of from the base into the board. Okay, and you want to use a minimum of 2 screws. You only have a 2x4 on there, so it doesn't need to be too many screws to attach it to the base, but minimum of 2
Per leg.
per leg. All right, now you can see that there's 2 screws on one leg, and then there's 2 screws on the other leg to attach it to the legs to the base. Here is your finished product. Light bulbs in place, base is on the bottom, and you can see our warming tray, the cookie sheet, fits perfectly in between the legs, and it's far enough away from the bulbs as to not to burn the prey items, but to get them up to the temperature you would like them to have. Okay. Thank you for watching. This is our first video ever. Hopefully this is helpful for you, and you'll subscribe and come back to see what we have next.